Yeah. So yeah, good morning, Simon. Thanks for doing this. So Brydon's looking to take a gap year this year. He's just finishing his school studies, and he's just really interested to know uh, how to progress from a school junior athlete more into a senior full-time athlete, really. So he's looking to take a gap year and then hopefully going to America to study, train further. So we've got a rough list of things we want to talk about, but if we go off piste and wherever the conversation goes, it doesn't particularly matter. So yeah, thanks for joining us this morning, Simon.
Oh, no problem. My pleasure.
So yeah, Brydon, what would you like to ask?
Okay, so I suppose the best thing to start with is when did you start taking? Because I mean, I know you were a multi-eventer when you were younger.
Yeah.
But when did you necessarily start solely focusing on the discus throw itself?
So I started when I was 19, just when I got out of gymnasium, as we call it in Sweden. So then that was when I was starting to like focusing more on discus, and I moved down to Växjö and started investing.
Right. Okay. So I mean, what would you say necessarily contributed the most to that development as a young athlete? So when you were going, so I mean, how far were you throwing when you necessarily first started solely doing discus? Like how far were you throwing at 19?
I threw 50, 79 with the 175 when I started investing in 2013. And I think just consistency, I think, is the main key to pretty much all development I've had. Just to like take one step at a time and not don't rush anything. I think that's the most important thing.
I mean, have you been training? Were you training with like Daniel and that lot since you were young, or were you with them as you became a more experienced athlete?
Yeah, when I was starting with investing, then Daniel and Niklas Arrhenius and Leif Arrhenius, Naruto Israel, and those guys were all already in the group. So it was a very good environment to come to as like a young athlete. You got some people to look up to, and just to have some good throwers in your inner circle. That was a good thing.
I'd go a bit further and say they're a bit more than good throwers. I think you lay it down a little bit. For
That's
people,
true. That's true.
Yeah, for context, there's Olympic gold medalist. You're obviously a silver Olympic medalist. 70 plus meters in the hammer. Is it now? Last year, the Swedish national champs. Have I got that right? Yeah. I mean, and I had a quick look at it's Coach V, isn't it? I mean, that is quite a group of athletes there.
Yeah, definitely had some success.
Yeah, for sure. What I found interesting as well, just having a quick look on the World Athletics thing, you did 7,200 points as a junior athlete for decathlon.
Yeah.
And that's impressive. I mean, at what point did you realise, like, yeah, I'm pretty good at decathlon, but I think discus is more for me?
I mean, I always liked the decathlon. I think I liked all the events, and I like the training for it too. It's very like you do one thing in one day and another one another day. So it's like very different day to day. But I always had maybe disc and shot as like my best events. So I think maybe at like 17 or something like that, maybe I started thinking that I was supposed to like turn a little bit more towards discus or shot. Mostly because of the major events like Diamond Leagues and all that. I really like the bigger competitions. To get an opportunity to compete there, then the discus was like a better option than the multi-event. So I think, and then I got hurt in my hamstring, like 2012, the year before I make the switch. Then when I was fully recovered, I just felt that it was like a long way to get back to where I were in the multi-event, and then so if I ever would like change the events, then there was like a good opportunity there to uh, make a good transfer. So just tried it out and don't regret my decision.
No, it's obviously been the right one as far as I can say. Yeah, so I mean, I've had other athletes as well, and the question I'd like to ask, and by the way, all these questions Brydon and I brainstormed, and this is largely a Brydon work. So if I interject, it's yes, I'm speaking for Brydon, but yeah, he'll get there.
That's all good, all good.
So in UKA, the United Kingdom Athletics Association is I wouldn't say new. It's been pushed for a while, but it's still a very slow gear turning thing. And as part of the athlete development model, it's kind of getting younger athletes to do multi sports growing up. All kind of movement skills and coordination, spatial awareness, and stuff. And in my head, I'm almost thinking, could that be you do one event like discus, for example, but you're also doing multi other sports like rugby, football, tennis, cricket, whatever, or what seems to be successful in your case? Did you just do athletics and do decathlon, like loads of different events, plus hammer? By the looks of it, you're pretty good hammer thrower.
I tried a lot. I tried around quite a lot when I was younger. I played some soccer and some golf and volleyball and some basketball, some table tennis, and so I've been trying pretty much everything. I feel like, but I always loved sports, and I always liked to move around, so it became pretty natural for me. I think it always get back to what you think is fun. And I think if you think it's fun to do a lot of sports, then I think it's just a good thing for your future. So I mean, as you say, it's a good for your your whole body to learn different patterns of movements and all that. So I think I believe it's a good thing.
Cool. Yeah, Brydon, do you want to ask anything?
I mean, so obviously you said when you were 19 you started taking throwing a bit more seriously. I mean, did you go to university? Did you have a kind of education process to go through whilst trying to maintain that level of professionalism?
I've never been good in school. So I always felt like the sports is the thing that I think it's mostly fun, and I always felt like I wanted to do something with sports. If it wouldn't have been athletics, then maybe I would play golf and try to reach as far as I could there, or something like that. But I took some courses at the university in Växjö when I moved there first. So I was there for 2 years, I think. But it was it was never for me. I feel like I learned some good things, but it was mostly I went there mostly because I got some funding from the whole thing. So I was able to train on the level I wanted to.
Yeah.
So in my case, I feel like I always have done what benefits my sports the most. I always feel like when I get older and I turn 40 or something like that, I never want to look back at my career and feel like I would have that I wanted to do something more. I don't feel like I want to. I'll phrase it. I don't want to feel like I could have done something more than I did. So I always feel like I want to do what I can to be as good as I possibly can be.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm in a similar situation in that. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I know in contact with the likes of Nick Percy,
Yeah.
who is obviously a very good thrower. I mean, he's just on the cusp of that kind of world elite, but he is certainly up there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yet again, the World Championships. The
No,
funding.
I think it cut out.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I mean, Scott Lincoln didn't get picked. Lawrence did, but he's the only thrower of the men's team in there, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, UK has got a problem with they haven't. I don't know. I don't want to say they haven't got the money, but if they have, they're not putting it in the right places all the time, and then that's why so many of the youth athletes in England end up going to America, even if they don't necessarily want to go to university. And it's because the only good place to train in England is Loughborough. The coaches in Loughborough aren't very good in a lot of the events anymore. And then they're kind of left with no other option than to go to America for 4 years because it's the only place they can really train.
Okay.
To the high level. So, I mean, that's my biggest reason for going to America, because there's only one good coach at Loughborough and they're full. So I haven't really got the option anymore.
Okay. That's a tough situation. Where in the US are you going to go?
I won't know until Christmas, but the guy who's sorting everything out for me, he's started, the process is now beginning because the coaches are back at uni now before the semester starts. So they're having their calls with the British agencies, all that kind of stuff.
Cut out, Brydon.
Yeah.
Yeah, cut out, I'm afraid. Can't hear you.
Did he disappear?
Oh, I think he's muting himself. I can see on the chat thing.
Oh, okay. That's always tough with the connection and all that.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Oh, there you go. Right. Okay. Yeah. So a couple of universities in Nebraska have been in touch, a couple in Texas, and a couple in New England. So I really don't know at the moment. It's just going to be a case of where offers me the best offer and who is on offer I deem the most appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't really give you an answer until about Christmas, really.
Yeah. I feel like Nick went to Nebraska and I feel like he was happy with it. I feel like it was a good experience. But I don't have that much experience of the university thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to. That's the problem as well. There's only a handful of throwers from Britain really who are good, so there's not really many people you can go to for advice. I mean, I've tried reaching out to most of them. Jade Lally's been in touch quite a lot. She's been really good. But I haven't really been able to kind of network out past that for the British throwers as a rule, really, which is quite unfortunate, but it is what it is. So I just wanted to thank you as well for this call because it's a really big thing for both Alex and I. I mean, we've got an Olympic silver medalist in the Zoom call.
No problem at all. No problem at all. I'm just glad if I can help in any way.
Perfect. I mean, I think Alex is probably going to be better for the next question. He'll probably be able to get a more insightful answer after this than me.
What's that about?
The success, the next stage of discus, it says there.
Well, transitioning.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just having a look at your progressions, the World Athletics, you've been hovering, you've been increasing year on year, and I think that's not come to a head because obviously you want you to throw further, of course, and best of luck to the future. But you broke 70 for the first time last year, was it? The Swedish national champs. I mean, doing that home soil must have felt good,
Yeah, it was a good competition. Like it's always special with the Swedish champs, and like it was in Norrköping. It's like not the biggest city in Sweden, but it's like it's a good size, but it's not too big. So it was like a good crowd and a good atmosphere, and it was just like it was a nice summer evening.
Yeah, nice. So really, building up to that, I mean, how would you approach building up to 70 meters? Was it a goal? Were you thinking, oh, I'm going to do this in X amount of years' time, or was it just a steady gain and it eventually happened? Like, what was your mindset?
I feel like it was something that was building up after a couple of years. I feel like I remember when I first started with Vesting in 2013. He was like doing I think it was like a 4-year plan or 3-year plan that he gave to me. That he said I was the second year with him I was supposed to throw 55, and then the next year 60, and then 63. From 2016, he said I would throw 63 meters. When I first got it, I was like, I don't think I can do this. I thought it was like, I don't know. I wasn't like comfortable with the numbers really. But I guess like the first year I did 49, 71, and then he said I will do 55 the next year, and I did 55, 39. And then it was 60, and I did 60, 25. And then 63, I did 63, 10. So it was pretty much spot on every year. And I think just after that, and I got like some kind of, I don't know, realization in one way. But like he really knew what he was talking about. So when he was starting to talk about 70 meters and all that, then I slowly started to believe it, and then one step at a time, and then it finally happened last year. But I think it was a goal that was growing for a couple of years before it actually was like a thing that I was feeling was possible to do.
I'm guessing having that, you know, consistent.
Sorry?
I'm sorry, can you hear me? I'm guessing that consistent voice of support from your coach over the
Yeah,
years
for sure.
was definitely a driving force.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when I didn't like have my, like, I don't want to say that I didn't believe in myself, but I didn't believe that I would throw that far without him. So it was definitely a thing that encouraged me when he said that he thought that I could do it. So that was the reason that I started believing it too.
Yeah. So I'm guessing a consistent setup. You were training in the same, not same place, but like you had a consistent routine for a few years then with the same coach, same training group.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is what I'm trying to get for Brydon really, or at least for the foreseeable future while he's at university. To me, I think if you have that supportive setup, you know, that massively makes a difference. Are there any so thinking back on like how your training's evolved, or has it, what would you, are there any exercises or just general principles you think like, oh, I wish I'd have done that sooner at 17, 18, or did you feel like you had a pretty development stage appropriate training and this is all culminating and you're kind of where you need to be?
And what do you mean? I didn't quite understand the question.
Okay, so are there any exercises that you might have learned at say 25 or 26 years old and you think like, oh, I wish I'd have been doing stuff like this at 19?
No, not really. Like I always believed in what Weston was, the program Weston was writing. So I just he just sent me the program, and I just did what was saying in the program pretty much. So I didn't think as much myself, like between 19 and like 26 maybe. I was just doing what he told me to do, and I just But I guess I built up the trust for him because of the things he said about my like development and all that. So I was just trusting him 100% and just did what he wanted me to do. And I feel like that's something you need to have too. Like you need to believe. You need to believe your coach, like that the person knows what he's doing. If you don't believe the process, then I think you need to change something, different coach or whatever. But so I don't feel like I would have done anything different. You always get like these sort of like small injuries and all that. And I think that's just a part of everything. And I had some problems with my groin in 2019, 18 towards 19. So I wasn't able to throw as much as I wanted during that time. But I feel like I learned a lot of things because of it. So I wouldn't have done anything different, I feel like now. So I don't know. I like to think that there's a reason for everything. So and there's always some positive things, no matter what happens. So you just need to find them and learn from it.
I mean, I'd like to ask quickly because I'm not sure if you know who John Hillier is, but he coached Nick for a while. He coached Lawrence up till the 2012 Olympics, so he's been on the scene for quite a while.
Yeah, I know the name.
Oh, you know, okay. Well, he is a very kind of figure it out yourself kind of coach. Because I mean, the thing is, John is 80. He's retiring in the next couple of years at latest.
Yeah.
So I think his big thing in recent years is to teach his athletes about the sport, so that when he's no longer here, because he's not very well either. I mean, he's had 5 heart attacks. So I think his big thing at the moment is kind of making us figure out our own sport, so that when he's no longer here, we know in ourselves what we're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is a very kind of figure it out yourself pattern at the moment. And I personally am struggling with this because I mean, I have autism, so it doesn't always, it's quite a lot of the time it can come through one ear and go straight out the other. So I was wondering if there's any particular that you think is important for training, whether it be particular lifts in the gym. Like, what would you say are the most important things to get down and have a good basis of at a young age?
I would say throwing. Like get a good feeling for the technique and just learn how your body moves and how you're supposed to throw in the future, and just like get a good feel for it, and just get a, what should I say, like yeah, like you feel what you're doing, so you got a good control of your technique, so you like can adjust and just do it on a feeling. I feel like that's because the strength part, I feel like it comes if you just do the reps in the gym, and just that's gonna come. But I feel like if you have the throwing thing done first, then I think it's gonna be easier for you to use the strength directly into your throwing. Because I feel like, I don't know, the feeling I have from the US is that most of the time people go there and then they get really strong really fast, and then they can't use the strength in the throwing. So like they throw pretty much the same, a little bit further. But if you see what how big the strength development has been, then they should like throw a little bit further than they do.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to have a good technique and throw pretty far and be a little bit weak than be really strong and have a like so and so technique.
Yeah.
I feel like it's easier to take the next step from that than if you're really strong and like So I think it's better to learn a good technique when you're young than like a good physique.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean, that's one thing in America which I am aware of happening. They do work their athletes to the bone. So I think this gap year for me is kind of taking time to kind of final any work I can do in England with my technique with John, because John is a very good coach. I can only use him for so long, so I want to take full advantage of that. And then it's a case of just getting my body in a position where it's prepared for the work it's going to be put through, but I'm also going to be able to say to my coach, no, that I think this is too much. I want to develop. I don't just want to get I don't want to be Joe Kovacs just yet. I want to take my time to get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, that is something that I'm aware of and something I will be looking into because I don't want to just get burnt out at 23 and then never throw it far again.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it's different from people to people too, but I mean, Joe's biggest strength is his power and all that, so maybe he can use that more. Like I'm more like I'm not that strong, so I need to have like like a good balance there. But I don't know. That's the way I've done it. So, but I don't know if it works for everybody, but that's something I would suggest.
Yeah, I mean that's the other thing because I've always felt that I need to be a bit faster because I mean in any other world I'm huge, but in throwing I'm short. I'm 6'4". So I've always felt that I need to be a bit quicker.
Yeah.
Just because even in England, I mean the guys who I compete against, they're what 6 foot. Some of them are 6'8", 6'9".
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I suppose I'll be probably a bit similar to the likes of. I mean, John keeps trying to compare me to the likes of Jurgen Schultz, obviously the world record holder. I mean, he's a pretty good basis to go off of. He was very quick and obviously very, very powerful. But I mean, that's another thing that even actually John wanted to know. I mean, what are your kind of like? You say you're weak, but I mean, what are your strength levels? Like, what are you kind of benching, squatting, that kind of stuff?
I benched 3 on 175, and then like I've had 190 like there. I couldn't like lock it out really, but I've done 180 at the most. But a triple on 175 is the best. Okay. And then I think I've done a 10 on 200 once in the squats, in the back squat. Then only like 235 for a single. So I'm like, it was a very good period when I did the 10 on 200, and then I didn't get the opportunity to push the singles, but and then I think I've done a triple on 200 in the front squats, 140 snatch. I think maybe that's the best lift I have, and then 290 in the deadlifts. The cleans is terrible, like 150 in the cleans. I feel like. What more? 180 in the the jerk from the neck. What more lifts is it?
I mean, that's the main ones, right? Yeah, I was just kind of keen to know because, I'm very weak, kind of certainly in comparison to my peers. But I mean, I have kind of been starting to get told not to worry about it so much because you can always get stronger, but you can't always get a better technique. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on at the moment.
What's your numbers?
Oh God,
not them.
not them. I've done 190 for one on the back squat. I've done 90 for the bench. I haven't touched the bench in about a year. I mean, that's the other thing. So I don't really have a gym program. John's never given me one. I've only been with John for a few months. So
okay.
And my coach before, he wasn't a particularly I mean, for the level I got to, he did very well. We'll put it that way. I mean, he wasn't a high level coach, so he didn't have a clue about the gym or anything. So all I ever did in the gym when I was younger was go in there and kind of look at a piece of equipment and think, oh yeah, I want to try that out.
Okay.
That's just what I would do. But so, and what else is there? I've cleaned 90. I've front squatted 110. I haven't really front squatted much. I mean, I've just kind of mucked around really in the gym, just trying to figure everything out. I mean, I don't deadlift, I don't do anything like that. I don't want to hurt my back, but yeah.
How old are you?
18.
18. Well, that's pretty good then. I mean, the squat is very good.
Yeah, I mean,
I would say.
Yeah, so the 190 bench, not bench, sorry, squat. Yeah, I mean that's okay, but I mean I would obviously like to get them a bit higher, but I also don't want to get them to a point where it's not useful strength. Because I mean, when it gets to certain numbers where it's like, I personally believe like you can't put 400 kilos of squat power into a throw. It's not beneficial at that point. Like you can only get it only weighs 2 kilograms. You can't put that much force into it. Like,
well, I'd argue it depends how fast that 400k squat is.
Yeah.
If it takes you like 7 seconds to stand up, then it's probably not that useful.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, I think I've just so I don't like when I was talking about the focus on the throwing, the technique thing. I think it would be good to do like strengthening and just do like the reps in the gym, but don't push it too much. You just learn to do the squats good and then the cleans and the bench and just work through your body, because I think you get in a good shape just to do it, but don't like push it too much, you hurt yourself. It's a good thing to just like do the basics and the techniques. So the technique is good when you need to go up in the weight a little bit more.
yeah. I mean, okay, perfect. I mean, just kind of moving on to this final section here. This is kind of what just essentially how your training goes. So, I mean, I think Alex would probably again be better at asking this because he will kind of be able to understand and implement it in different ways. But yeah, Alex, I think would be the best.
Yeah. I mean, you said that you've got a great working relationship with your coach, and it sounds like you trust him completely, and he has a lot of faith in you, and you've got a lot of faith in him. All that kind of stuff. It was more like, what does your typical week look like, if that's even such a thing? Is it periodized training? Like, how would you prepare for a big competition? That kind of thing.
It's a little bit different between when depending on the where in the season we are. Like during the build-up season, then we usually train like throw lift Monday, throw lift Tuesday, like a recovery day on Wednesday, and then throw lift, and a recovery day on Saturday, and then Sundays off. That's the particular week when we're like through like October till like April pretty much. And then during the season we do like 2 sessions, 1 day off, and then 2 sessions, 1 day off. And sometimes we throw in the morning and throw in the afternoon, depending a little bit how the first session goes. Sometimes I'm very like kind of slow start in the mornings, like the feeling isn't quite there, like it's not like on point. So then we usually do a couple throws in the afternoon too, just to like get the feeling right, because most of the time it's a lot better the second session than the first one. So yeah.
You're talking about throw lifting. Is that like a throwing session in the morning and lifting in the evening? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Or like
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
I like to split it up a little bit, especially when it's like a little bit heavier lifts. Then I like to do 2 sessions, just to be able to like recharge a little bit and just focus on the next. Get some time to rest up before the lifting.
So yeah, I mean, part of why I asked is Brydon and I kind of brainstorming, although I think it's more or less got it now, but just really he just wants to get in a bit of a routine for this gap year coming up. Just because, not that I'm not saying you're not going to find a job and not work and stuff, but it's a very different thing. It's like, yeah, I'm planning to do this, and then teenage fatigue kind of kicks in. You want to have a little bit of a lay in bed, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying he's not, because he's a very motivated, disciplined young man. But everyone gets temptations and stuff. And I think like, he strikes me as the kind of guy that if he's got a routine down and it's just like, right, you know what I'm doing today, just hold on and crack on with it. Lifting in the morning, throwing in the afternoon or evening, fine. So yeah, when you're talking about heavy lifting, is it always heavy lifting? I'm guessing that's season dependent, or is it an
Yeah.
average thing?
Yeah, like usually we have like we usually take a couple of weeks off after the season, and we usually start like in the beginning of October. The first 4 weeks would be pretty light, just like 5x5s, and just work it through, just to try to get back into the like the groove, or what do you want to call it. Then maybe a little bit heavier or more like volume in the next 4 weeks, and then we maybe push a little bit like heavy fives in January or something like that, and then we usually do the process all over again. Then we do a little bit more reps, and then we like push a little bit more like towards March, April. So we try to do some maxes around that time. So usually we are pretty strong during that time, and then I like just to like ride the wave through the season and just maybe go up a little bit more in the snatch, but just work and do the reps in the rest of the lifts. Or sometimes you want to have some kind of like what do you call it when you want to have some kind of answer that you're on the right track, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like a test, litmus test.
Yeah. So you just want to, then you can maybe go up to during the season too. Like now this year I've had like a pretty rough season so far this summer. Then we pushed the snatch a little bit more now, so I did a PB just last week, just to get like feel like like the strength part is pretty good, just to have something to lean on, and like don't question the shape I'm in. It's just like like a thing to see where things are.
Yeah, cool. So going into competitions, you obviously like no, okay, as you just said, you've just done a PB in the weights room. I'm guessing technically it's coming along, or it's pretty good from what I can see in the videos. How do you like link that together for competition? What's kind of like your main mindset going into like a big comp?
But I always have like 2 or 3 competitions every year that are really like some comps I just think is very fun, like the Bauhausgalan here in Stockholm. That's like one of my favorites, and then there's one in Karlstad too. Like it's very like it's a good competition, usually a very good crowd, and so I always focus, like I have those 3 or 4 meets in the back of my head, and just I want to perform at these. And most of the time, the championship is for sure the important one. So I feel like most of the time, all other competitions is just a preparation for the championship. So I just try to do what I want to do at the championship on other meets, pretty much, and just try to get the what do you say, like the right mentality that I want to have in the championship, whatever that might be. I don't know if that was an answer to your question.
No, it's a great answer. Yeah. Is there anything you else wanted to ask Brydon? Or I mean, I've got a couple of questions, but yeah.
I mean, just moving back to the weights quickly, just because I think I might have missed it. I think would you say would you recommend you would lift before throwing or after throwing? Because I mean, I hear a lot of different thoughts about this, but I'd just like to kind of hear your kind of what the kind of process you guys do.
I have always thrown before the lifting,
From
but
before the lifting.
yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's just up to every like everyone to make to try to find their own thing. And I think it's just I'm just used to doing it that way. And I feel like if I would have if Weston would have said when I started with him that we're gonna lift in the morning and throw in the afternoon, I feel like that would have worked as good as the thing we do now. So I feel like it's just something that you need to decide what you want to do. And I mean, usually the qualification in the major championship is usually in the morning, and then the final is usually in the afternoon or evening. So I mean, it's best if you're able to throw no matter what time it is. So I mean, I will suggest to throw like maybe have some routine that's just I do it that way, and then maybe once in a while try to do it the other way or something like that, just to try how it feels, just to be
Yeah.
prepared for the bigger things.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. I mean, yeah, because I mean, I'm just to give a bit of context. I mean, where Alex was saying that I'd like to have a bit of routine. I've just moved about an hour and a half away from my training ground.
Okay.
So I'm going to be coming back up every week and staying at family members' houses just to kind of bed surf. Whilst I train, then I'll head back home. So the training is going to take a bit of a hit, but I'm trying to kind of incorporate it as much as I can. And that's why everything's just a bit all over the place, and that's why I'm trying to get into a routine as such.
Yeah. What are you thinking about doing?
I mean, there is a coaching opportunity that I might be able to get. I mean, I am just looking for jobs where I live near as well, just to get some money to pay for things because I'm broke. But the plan at the moment is just to go back and forth from home every week, train, and then when I get home, train more. That's kind of the plan at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, the economic part of it is always the rough one.
Yeah.
There's always
Who's going to pay for the petrol?
yeah, exactly. But I like the thing you're trying to do. I feel like you don't get too many chances to like go for this kind of life or this like really try your wings in this industry. So I feel like I respect your decisions, and I really like that you are trying.
Thank you. I mean, I think Alex, you said you had a couple of questions.
I mean, just the one really. I won't take too much of your time. Going right back to the beginning, when you mentioned about, I think you called it the gymnasium.
Yeah.
Like what? Just enlighten me. What is the gymnasium in Sweden?
No, we first we do. No. No. First we start school when we were 6 years old, and then we go, I don't know, like ground school from 6 until 15. Then we have the gymnasium for 3 years between like 16 and 19. And then after that, that's like the preparation for the university. So after those 3 years, then you apply to some university if you want to study more. But usually when you end the ground school, then you usually pick like if you want to be a builder or something like that, then you can do these 3 years and then start working if you want to. So it's like you choose your thing you want to do, and then depending on what you read, you can start working if you want to.
It's more of an education careers thing rather. I thought it was like a special program for athletics. I was like, oh, okay, interesting.
Oh, okay. No, it's something everybody do. We got this athletics gymnasium, what do you call it? So we get like we are at the regular schools, but if you belong to one like athletics gymnasium, then you get the opportunity to train in the morning too before school, two times a week. It makes it easier to get the training in. and it's a very very good thing too, if you wanna do athletics.
Cool. All right, Simon. Well, fantastic. Thanks very much for your time.
Oh, no problem at all.
Absolute pleasure. It's been very helpful. Brydon definitely appreciates it. I appreciate it a lot as well. And I hope your season picks up. If it's any consolation, it's been absolutely miserable here in Britain for the summer. I don't think anyone's having a good season. But yeah, no, absolutely. Hope it picks up. Are you? I coach. I've only been coaching about 2 years. I mean, I've been doing combined events since when I was a teenager, which is a good 25 years ago or so now. But my group is mainly 12 to 16, 17-year-olds, so they're not quite at the level. But is the world champs, are they coming up soon? Am I making that?
Oh, the world champs, next month,
Yeah, 19th of August, we got our qualification.
Okay. Are you going for that? Is that something that's on the itinerary, or?
Yeah. So I got 2 more comps and then Worlds.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Okay. Well, I hope you smash it.
And, thank you.
Best of luck. Yeah. Thanks very much for your time.
Oh,
thank you so much.
Thank you. Let me know if you had any more questions, and then just text me.
I'll drop you. I'll tell you what, if I ever need any more advice, I'll drop you a text. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right, perfect. Cheers, Simon.
Okay. Good luck. See you.
Thank you very much.